Hi guys, welcome back, and today I'll be doing the movie for What If Beerus Woke Up Early. This was a short series I ran along my channel for a few months and it did pretty well. I hope people enjoyed this encapsulated part of it all. Sorry for this quick little output of this video, however I need the free time at the minute just to do some personal things, so I cannot put too much time into making videos, so this will just have to do for now. I hope people understand, I hope you enjoy and have a brilliant day. Now our story begins with the battle against Frieza, Goku having awakened the Super Saiyan form from his battle. Frieza's power is high, and so is Goku's. And all of these high powers throwing around catches the attention of a sleeping god who was woken up by a high mortal power level. Now of course the power is nothing compared to Beerus, however he's interested in the other power, which eclipses that of Frieza's. So, with his interest piqued, he asks Whis to pack them a bento box as they head towards Namek. With Whis and him arriving not long after the wish to revive everyone had been made, with Vegeta, just before being teleported away, seeing Beerus. This causes the Saiyan to flinch up, and is then taken to Earth, where he stays frozen in fear. With the battle against Goku and Frieza, it still rages on. Beerus and Whis watch from a distance, up until the climax of the fight, up to the point where Goku gives Frieza energy and starts to fly away. Just before Frieza can throw his attack off, Beerus makes his presence known, with Frieza freezing up at the sight of the god, while Goku watches on in confusion. The planet being mere moments away from exploding, Goku tells the pair that he doesn't know who they are and what they're doing here, but they need to get off the planet. However, when Frieza starts asking why Beerus is here, the god doesn't pay any attention to Frieza and just looks over towards Kakarot, with him saying, "You are a Saiyan, but you offered the person who destroyed your planet and race a second chance. I must say, you aren't like any other Saiyan I have met." Goku is confused, with him not being able to sense the power of the people in front of him. He lets his guard down a bit. He asks who they are, and Whis and Beerus introduce himself. Beerus telling Goku how he is the god of destruction for this universe. This shakes Goku as King Kai shakes on his planet in fear. But the Saiyan realizes that this is a chance to test his new power. Goku asks if Beerus would be interested in a fight. He would love to see how strong the god of destruction is. Beerus smiles at this. With Beerus telling the Saiyan to come closer, Goku does so, and Whis proceeds to turn back time, giving the two fighters some more time to battle it out. Whis quickly taps Goku on the head with his staff, healing him and causing Goku to get a Zenkai, quite a big one at that. Goku's excited and heads off a little bit away from Whis, getting ready to fight. Beerus, not expecting a lot, tells Goku to go all out, or at least try to entertain him. Goku takes a fighting stance, with Beerus staying relaxed. The Saiyan goes all out, trying his best to defeat Beerus, or even land a blow after a while, but Beerus is easily able to dodge and block everything. Eventually, Beerus grows bored, and quickly takes Goku down, with one quick chop to the neck. Goku is the best fight Beerus has ever had, and even though it wasn't too entertaining, you can see the Saiyan growing a lot. So he wants to keep him around. He tells Whis to wake the Saiyan up. Goku is woke up, rubbing the mark where he was hit, and realizes he was taken down in one, and is amazed. He asks Beerus how he got so strong, but Beerus doesn't respond. He goes on to ask Goku a question, something he remembered during their fight. He wants to know what Goku knows about God Ki. Goku knowing nothing, Beerus tells Goku this. "Whenever you learn how to use God Ki, or learn the Super Saiyan God form, then we will have our rematch." Frieza is still alive at this point. He just looks on in fear as he gathers up some energy, a much stronger blast than in canon. And seeing Goku's open, he throws a massive blast towards him. The Saiyan, seeing it, braces for impact, however Beerus easily knocks the blast away and tells Frieza he's a coward and a waste of potential. He kakais Beerus out of existence. Goku is shocked. He goes to ask more questions when the planet begins to shake. On the brink of blowing up, Goku panics, saying that they really need to get out of here. Whis says that it's not a problem for them. He's the one who needs to leave. Goku, hearing this, says, Okay then. Well, whenever I learn either of those things you told me about, you better be ready for a rematch, Lord Beerus. Beerus smirks as he and Weef leaves the planet, while Goku heads off doing the same as he did in canon, eventually arriving at Yardrat. Things here line up with canon, however Beerus stays awake throughout Goku's training on Yardrat, monitoring the Saiyan. Goku pushes himself a lot harder in this timeline, but after getting the instant transmission down, he heads home, where things go like canon. Beerus and Whis, of course, do learn about the time travel, but decide to ignore it for now, wanting to see what changes for Goku. Now, there are two major changes here. First off, we have a stronger Goku, thanks to him training harder and getting a Zenkai from Namek. Second, after hearing of God Ki and Super Saiyan God, he began to dig around a bit during the 3 years before the android attack. And with some help from King Kai, he does learn a tiny bit, but decides that it will be best to ask the Dragon Balls after dealing with the androids. Now, as for the android saga goes mostly like canon. Very small changes pop up, like Gohan and Piccolo being slightly stronger, and even Vegeta, who after seeing Beerus has panicked and trained harder than ever. Of course, it's not enough to change the timeline up so things are different, but it's enough to bring up. Now, with not a lot changing, we get to the point where Goku and Gohan come out of the hyperbolic time chamber. Just after Goku had sized up Cell, he realizes that he's still too weak and knows Gohan is the best bet, but Goku remembers something as he heads off to collect Dende. Now, while Goku's on Namek, he asks if he could use the Dragon Balls. They allow it, obviously, and Goku spends a few hours collecting them, and eventually, after gathering all the balls, with some help from Dende, he asks to learn three things. He asks to learn everything Brunga knows about God Ki, about a being known as Beerus, and something called the Super Saiyan God. Brunga is shocked to hear, but goes on to explain to Goku about God Ki and the Super Saiyan God form, but doesn't share anything on Beerus. Much like Shenron, he is scared of the god. Goku's a bit upset to hear that he can't learn anything more. He's happy Purunga shared with him the two things Beerus told him to learn. With that done, Goku has learnt how to do the ritual for the Super Saiyan God, and wonders if this will be the changing tide for the fight between himself and Cell. He thanks the Namekians for their help, and Goku takes Dende back to Earth to become the new Guardian. With him then going off and starting to collect the available Saiyans. Vegeta, Gohan, Trunks, and even Baby Trunks are grabbed. With Goku asking for their help, of course Gohan and Trunks are willing to help, and with a bit of playing around, Baby Trunks is easily able to be convinced. But Vegeta is where the problem lies. It takes some convincing, but after a few days of trying, he does agree to help. After a few days of trying, they finally convince Vegeta, and it's the morning of the tournament. The Saiyans only have a few hours before the tournament begins, so they need to make sure they use every moment they've got. With them all gathering around and starting to push all their energy into Goku, which, like I said, Baby Trunks is the issue here. With a bit of convincing through play, he does offer up some energy. Goku's power begins to massively increase. However, Goku can tell this isn't what he was aiming for. Something seems off. This doesn't feel like a power that could rival Beerus. Alongside that, he learns that everyone is still able to detect his ki, and Goku knows that God Ki isn't detectable by no God Ki user. So Goku starts trying to figure out why it didn't work, wondering if it's because Vegeta's heart might not be pure. And after thinking on it for a few minutes, Gohan has an epiphany. Maybe they're one Saiyan short. Goku, hearing this, thinks it could be a possibility. 5 Saiyans pushing their energy into one might be what they need. Everyone begins to panic. After all, they don't know of any other Saiyan who's pure, yet alone alive. With them starting to think for a minute, they begin to panic even more as the tournament comes ever so closer. Vegeta, having been silent throughout all of this and getting sick of waiting around and wanting to see if this power works, brings up the fact he has a brother who might just fit the description. Everyone freaks out asking more questions, but Vegeta tells them to shut up and get the Saiyan as fast as they can. Goku agrees, heading towards King Kai and finding Tarbell. The small Saiyan would be shocked, but after hearing Goku is a friend of his brother, he offers to help. Goku brings Tarbell back to Earth, where him and Vegeta catch back up a little bit. However, after catching up with Vegeta, Tarbell is filled in on the plan. Tarbell is happy to help, so he joins the ritual. This time it's a lot easier. Tarbell seems to be great with kids and manages to convince Baby Trunks to give up energy, making it seem like a game to the baby. And once that happens, everyone else gives Goku energy. This causes Goku to glow, float into the sky, which is when Goku's power completely disappears. But his aura becomes so intense. As he stops glowing, having slimmed down, aura changed colour, and his hair now red. Goku at first doesn't feel the power difference, and doesn't even notice what had happened to him. Goku, getting it pointed out to him by Gohan, is amazed, and suddenly realises the power he feels. Future Trunks asks how he feels, and Goku says he feels great. As Bulma hands Goku a mirror where he can see the physical differences. After getting used to this for a few seconds, Goku can feel that this power isn't permanent, and he only has a short time in it, so they decide to head off to the tournament early. No one can keep up with Goku the moment he starts flying. The Saiyan is flying slow intentionally, but they soon lose sight of him. Eventually, they all arrive at the tournament grounds to see Goku and Cell staring each other down. Humans, Piccolo, 16 all soon arrive. Hercule is nowhere in sight, and everyone's confused, apart from the Saiyans. But after a quick explanation from Gohan, and explaining who Tarbell is, they are caught up. Cell's interested in this power of Goku showing off. Of course, his presence feels different, but his aura is undetectable, and Cell finds that interesting. He decides that the tournament will start a few hours early, and Goku agrees to fight, wanting to test out this new power of his. Goku takes a fighting stance, as Cell copies his movements. Goku moves, and immediately everyone loses sight of him. The Saiyan lands a punch on Cell's gut. Cell begins to wince in pain and soon spits up 18. Goku is shocked, everyone's shocked, and Cell is screaming as he reverts to his semi-perfect form. Goku, seeing 18, realizes what he did, and quickly gets her out of the arena, chucking her to Krillin. Cell, not really understanding what just happened, is panicking, trying to figure out what to do, trying to reason with Goku. "I will give you an amazing fight. Just let me reach my perfect form once again." Goku listens, and for a moment, a brief moment, he wants to do it. But then remembering everything that happened with Frieza, and how he's lucky that Beerus stepped in, decides to not give Cell this second chance. He once again gut punches Cell, causing the bug to spit up 17. This time, Goku gets the android out of harm's way instantly. With Cell now angry, he starts to get ready to blow up, but Goku, having complete control of this fight, grabs hold of Cell, teleports to King Kai's planet, and thanks to being hundreds of times faster than he ever was, Goku grabs King Kai, Gregory, and Bubbles, then heads back to Earth. Cell explodes and kills no one. Goku tells King Kai that he'll bring back the planet in no time. They've got the Dragon Balls waiting. With everyone confused at what's going on, they all just look at Goku, who hadn't even worked up a sweat. Goku turns to everyone and says he wasn't really expecting it to be that simple. He asks how the androids are doing, as Krillin says that they're fine. Vegeta is annoyed at how easy Goku made that look. As he asks for a fight, Goku happily accepts, and the two spar for just a few seconds, and Vegeta realizes the power difference. Vegeta demands that once this is all done, he gets the ritual done on him as well. And of course, the other Saiyans chime in, all except Tarbell, who is more than willing to help. Before anything can be done, Cell reappears in his super perfect state. Having learnt the instant transmission much like in canon, he reappears on Earth. He shoots off a beam, hoping to hit either Trunks or Gohan, wanting to strike one of the Saiyans' nerves. But Goku is too fast and easily deflects the attack. Cell is nervous. He hoped this super perfect power would be more than enough to deal with whatever this red-haired state was. But Goku shows him that he has no chance against him. No one is able to see Goku as he moves as fast as he can, eventually sending Cell flying into the air and firing off a Kamehameha of proportions never thought to be possible before. Planets off in the distance see the attack, but luckily Goku doesn't cause any harm, only to Cell. Cell is completely evaporated as Goku lets out a sigh of relief. He then turns to everyone saying that they'll do all the god rituals after they've sorted everything else out, things like King Kai's planet, and reviving all those killed by Cell. Now, not long after the battle against Cell, Vegeta asked to have the god ritual performed on himself, alongside both Trunks and Gohan. Even Tarbell is slightly interested. So the group form up and over the course of 4 days perform the ritual to all living Saiyans present. Trunks then heads back to his timeline where he defeats the androids easily and his Earth enters a time of peace. Back with our Earth, we enter a time of peace ourselves, where everyone goes to continue on training. Vegeta even pushes his brother to train slightly, getting him a lot stronger, and alongside his god state, he's remarkably strong. Now, this being said, when his son gets to a correct age, he also has the god ritual performed on himself, which leads to Goten getting it performed on him. Alongside this, Goten is trained proper, thanks to Goku, who is still alive, wanting to make sure his son is trained up correctly. Now, all this being said, the 7 years of peace pass pretty fast, and the story with Gohan and Videl goes normal. Eventually, Videl brings up the idea of the tournament, which leads to the Z Fighters thinking it'll be fun, and all entering, even Vegeta. Now, when this is done, they all decide to take part, with the exceptions of, Yamcha, Tien, and Chaozu. I do want to bring up two things before I go any further, though. And the first one would be Videl would be, by training with Gohan, gaining trace amounts of God Ki, in turn making her slightly stronger. With this said, I believe all Earthlings, and even Piccolo, would have gained a good amount of God Ki over the years. Only small amounts through sparring matches or just interacting with any of the Saiyans would lead to this. And heck, even Chi-Chi and Bulma would have God Ki for other reasons, but this still means outside of our main cast of Saiyans, the Z Fighters have gotten a big power increase thanks to Beerus showing up slightly early. And the other thing I want to bring up is Goku has been itching for his rematch with the God of Destruction, who hasn't shown himself yet. And after spending a bit of time searching for him during the 7 years with no luck, this tournament is what he hopes will draw out Beerus from wherever he is. So Goku heads to King Kai and asks the god to point him in the right direction to find, well, the other god. King Kai is reluctant, but after a couple of days of nagging, he decides that he will try for Goku at least. With the Kai managing to get in contact with Whis, asking the angel if he's free to talk to one of his friends. Whis, interested in who the Kai could be talking about, is happy to. And Goku begins to say, "Oh hey, it's me, Goku. That guy Lord Beerus fought a couple years back on Namek? Well, I just wanted to call in and say I kept the end of my deal, and I was hoping that Beerus would be up for a rematch." Whis, hearing this, responds how he did detect some new godly powers appear recently, but he didn't suspect him. Whis tells Goku that he's sure Beerus would love this chance. After all, it's all he talked about for a while, and he'll bring him to Earth soon. Goku tells Whis to bring him in a few days, when a tournament he and his friends are taking part in will be. It will just be a bit more interesting, and also give them a good excuse to battle. With Whis thinking about it, he's sure the god would be more than happy to take part, and Whis learns the correct information, and also learns how there might be some good food at this tournament, which is more than enough to seal the deal for him. Now, with this being done, the day of the tournament arrives, with Goku excited, desperately keeping an eye out for Beerus, having not told anyone what he's done. Everyone begins to show up, and two people who seem sketchy, and another two people who keep giving the group weird looks, but they ignore it. For the most part, they're here to have fun. Now, the two strangers stare at the Z Fighters, and soon their face turns pale. As a flash of light strikes behind everyone, and Goku turns around to see Beerus, Vegeta's face turns white as a ghost. But the group just look on confused, looking at the cat and this angelic looking fella. With Beerus and Goku spending a moment talking, and Beerus saying how the Saiyan better kept his end of the deal. Goku laughs saying how he did, and when Goku tells everyone who Beerus is, it shocks all of them, who look in fear, trying to figure out what to say to this god of destruction. But they're shocked at how casual Goku treats him. This does kind of calm people, and after adjusting to the idea, they all sign up, and our cast plus Beerus get into the tournament. Now, to save some time, the winner of the Junior Cup were Goten. The boys were told not to use their God Ki by Goku and Vegeta quite sternly in this timeline. God Ki and a minor Ki blast could lead to half the city being wiped out, so they were told to stick to Super Saiyan. and thanks to Goku's training, Goten was the winner here. Now, skipping on past this, let's get to the roster of the tournament, and thanks to having a few different characters here, I thought I'll rearrange things. Our first match is Krillin versus Goku. Our second match is Beerus versus Piccolo. Our second match is Shin versus Yamu. Our fourth match is Kibito versus Vegeta. Our fifth match is Spopovich versus Jewel. Our sixth match is Videl versus Mr. Satan. Our seventh match is 18 versus Gohan. And our eighth match is Pintar versus Mighty Mask. So we have some interesting fights ahead, so let's get going through our first round. Now, the first one is actually pretty nostalgic for the pair, as Goku and Krillin haven't fought truly in a tournament in a couple of years, and they're both very excited for it. Now, Goku holds back his godly power and doesn't even use Super Saiyan, even though Krillin is a lot stronger and very close to arguably base Goku. The saying going all out is too strong for Krillin to deal with, so Goku takes the fight here. However, this fight would be a lot closer than the canon counterpart. Now, the next match being Piccolo versus Beerus, and Namekian would step down from this. I believe after stepping down from Shin, he will literally not fight the God of Destruction. So like I said, even a God Ki boosted Piccolo won't stand up to Beerus. Now after this, the duo of Shin and Kibito approach Beerus, recognizing who he is, and Beerus asks why are they on this planet. Also a fun side note, Whis has disappeared. He found food stands and he's loving life right now. Around this point he would have also met Bulma and Chi-Chi, and they're all getting to know one another. Now, Shin and Kibito thank their lucky stars, explaining that they're here to stop an evil creature, and with the god's help it'll be a cakewalk, saying how they need his help to stop Boo. But Beerus shows his disinterest. This shocks both guys as Beerus explains how he's here for a match, and he's excited for it. He won't be leaving the stands, unless of course this threat comes directly to him. The Kais are shocked, not understanding why Beerus is like this. But luckily for them, the Z Fighters hear this, and Goku, who has some time to kill before the tournament gets to his next fight, offers out his help. Krillin and Piccolo also agree to help out, since they have some time before Goku's next match. The Kais hearing this thank them, but they aren't sure if their power will be enough. This said, Goku jumps up to his god form, shocking Beerus and the Kais. Goku explains how he was planning on saving this to show to Beerus, but he wonders if this will be enough. The Kais are amazed at how a mortal could be this strong, and Beerus can tell that Goku isn't even showing off everything he has to offer, and now he's more revved up for this fight than ever. So Beerus looks over to Goku, telling him and his friends to go finish and deal with this problem that is Boo, and come back and be in time for their match, otherwise he might have to destroy this planet. But Shin explains that they won't find Babidi that easily, they need to draw him out. Beerus, who wants to get this done as fast as possible, asks how to do so. So Shin points towards Spopovich and Yamu, saying how they know where to go. Beerus, not needing to hear anymore, walks over to them and says to the bold fighters, I'll give you two an option. Tell me where your boss is, or I'll kill you both. The pair snarl, and Spopovich goes to attack Beerus, but the god Hokai's him out of existence. As he looks towards Yamu, who is freaked out right now, he offers to help, as Beerus tells him to finish this battle quick. The team of the Kais, Goku, Piccolo, and Krillin all follow Yamu to the wasteland. Yamu is shaken and really doesn't want to piss off the god of destruction's friends. After seeing Spopovich just get obliterated, he doesn't want to risk anything. Now, after a small fly, Yamu arrives in a wasteland, showing them where Babidi is hiding. Shin thanks Yamu, who is terrified, and tells the human to go off and never do another evil thing in his life. He thanks them and then runs off with a tail between his legs. Shin then looks towards our heroes, telling them to be careful not to use too much energy when entering, as it will help them release Boo. But the group think they already have a plan to do here. They talk a little bit about it on the way here telepathically, and they're fairly certain it'll work. Trio head into Babidi's ship, catching the space wizard with his pants around his ankles a little bit, as he wasn't expecting anyone, but he thinks this is going to be a good way to get some energy, so he sends his minions at them. Now, first up, like normal, is Pui Pui, appearing. However, here Krillin takes down the alien, and I know this sounds crazy, but having a god key infused Krillin would make him massively stronger, probably not too far behind someone like Pui Pui, and thanks to Krillin's amazing tricks, Krillin wins with ease. Next is Yakon, who is easily beat by Piccolo with a quick combination attack. Piccolo even makes a point to use his special beam cannon. Babidi cheers seeing a beam blasted, and Shin curses, but no one's shaken as they continue down. Next floor is Deborah, with Goku stepping up to the plate, where he goes God, which is felt by everyone around the planet who can sense God Ki, but Deborah can't. He feels the presence of Goku disappear and begins to underestimate his opponent, as Goku then disappears and reappears behind Deborah, saying how he shouldn't get too cocky, before killing him and then heading down towards Babidi, who has collected no energy. Babidi looks at his monitor confused, asking how, with Piccolo explaining how the guess God Ki might not work, and from the seams of it, they were correct. This Piccolo then kills Babidi, and Shin appears, not only taking the egg, but our heroes back to the tournament while thanking them profusely. Arrive back at the tournament, where they make it just in time for Goku and Beerus' next match. However, they all are caught up pretty quick. Shin asks Beerus to destroy the egg, and he's more than willing to do so, being as though it was brought to him. As the group explain how they stopped Babidi, and also saying how it wasn't too much. And quickly Goku was filled in on who passed what matches. Shin and Yamu left, so there was no winner. Kibito left, so Vegeta won. Jewel won by default since Bokovic is gone forever. Videl beats her dad with ease, and she expects her father to make some sort of lame excuse up, but he just tells her good job, as she becomes a fan favourite and the crowd's belief to be the next champion. Gohan beats 18 pretty easily, and Taba wins against Mighty Mask, but doesn't reveal who the kids are. Now, Beerus and Goku are called into the ring, where the god tells Goku not to hold back. As Saiyan explains how he won't, the pair get into the ring. Goku, not wanting to beat around the bush, goes straight into his god state, shocking the crowd. The pair take a stance and the battle begins. This battle plays out very similarly, for the most part, of the Battle of Gods. However, when they take to the sky, Whis steps into the arena and starts performing a hologram, sharing the entire fight through his staff to the entire crowd, and giving commentary every now and again with the ref, making a bit of a comedic duo. Now, we do have a change here, and when Goku was running out of steam, he laughed, saying, "Honestly, I wasn't expecting to have to use this, but you really are something else, Lord Beerus. I guess I shouldn't underestimate the God of Destruction." Beerus is confused as Goku powers up into his Super Saiyan Blue state, which, during his 7 years of downtime, he has mastered. The power amazes both Beerus and Whis, and the battle gets only more intense. Goku's new power closes the gap a lot, but Beerus still holds a lot of power back, and also has some techniques Goku has never seen. Doesn't mean Goku is losing easily. He's still got things like the instant transmission, and also a great martial arts mastery, meaning he's holding into this fight quite well. Now, the battle continues, raging over in the sky, and Whis gives more commentary, and at some point Goku gets an idea. It was his final Hail Mary, and he doesn't want to win like this, but he's going to give it a shot. He begins to rush towards Beerus, throwing a punch which God easily dodges, but Goku uses this opportunity to grab Beerus' arm. He then puts his free hand to his head and teleports back to the ring. He then tries to slam Beerus straight into the ground. A massive cloud of smoke erupts upwards. One watches on, trying to figure out what just happened. As the dust settles, they see Beerus still in the air and Goku on the floor. The ref, unsure of what happens, asks his fellow commentator, Whis, for an idea of what happened. Whis shows through his staff in slow motion, Beerus slipping free from Goku's grasp and slamming the fighter straight into the ground. This by default makes Beerus the winner, but the god is heavily hurt and a lot more than in canon. As for Goku, he looks a lot worse as well. And the pair give a little bit of a smile, and Beerus is annoyed he had to win this way, but if he didn't, Goku would have beat him. So, for now, they'll call it round 2 Beerus' favour as well. The pair head back into the waiting area, with the crowd letting out a massive cheer as they lead, with Beerus following the conversation up, saying how he's impressed with the Saiyan, but the guy still needs years more training to catch up with him. Goku laughs, saying how he did have one more trick, but he'll have to save that for next time as it isn't quite mastered yet. Beerus hearing this gulps, thinking how close it was. Of course, Beerus did have a lot left to give, but depending on what the Saiyan was about to pull off, it could have been bad for the god. Now, Beerus is about to leave when Goku explains how Vegeta and Gohan would probably like a crack at him, and they're about as strong as him. Hearing this, he is interested and sticks around a while longer, getting given a sensu to heal up. Now, the matches continue on like so. Vegeta with no opponent to fight wins. Videl wins against Jewel and Gohan defeats Tabo. Next is Vegeta versus Beerus. Now, the Prince's match would go much like Goku's did. Of course, Vegeta hasn't waited around and not learnt the blue state. In fact, he mastered it, much like Goku, but the fight goes a lot like Goku's battle did. However, I would argue that it goes arguably worse, since he doesn't have instant transmission. But that's up for debate. The Prince would make up for that in other ways. Now, after this is Gohan versus Videl, and here the crowd are cheering loudly for the girl. Gohan doesn't want to take her thunder, so he holds back a lot, and this annoys her, obviously, who knows that Gohan can easily win this fight and probably easily destroy half of this city, possibly more. But the hybrid gives up after a while, saying how he isn't strong enough to defeat the next champion, annoying the girl as she leaves the ring, having been declared the winner of this round. Of course, Beerus is annoyed he won't be able to fight Gohan, but the hybrid explains how he isn't actually as strong as his father or Vegeta. Heck, he isn't even mastered Super Saiyan Blue yet, so he wouldn't be a good fight for Beerus. Hearing this, the god sighs and explains how he'll be leaving soon, instead of sticking around to fight some Earthling who's only got small amounts of God Ki. This would probably be a good time where the group get truly filled in on God Ki from Whis or Beerus, take your pick. It would more likely be Whis who's interested in the group. Now, with this done, Whis arrives with a bento box full of food from food stands, and on the trip home, Beerus is telling Whis how amazed he is with the Saiyans. It's only been 7 years since Goku discovered the God state, and he's pushed it to a state where he almost rivaled Beerus. He begins to explain how he would like to train one of them up, to see if maybe one of them was a worthy candidate. But first, he wants to spend some time making a bit more of a gap between them. So he asks Whis in a year to head back to Earth and asks to train them. The angel nods, already planning to go back to grab more food, just meaning he has a better excuse to leave. Now back on Earth, with Beerus gone, Videl is actually crowned the winner, making her the champion of the world. The crowd eat this up since she is the daughter of Mr. Satan. Of course, the girl argues about this quite a lot, knowing the strength of the other fighters. But Gohan, before she goes up into the stands to accept her reward, talks to her. You know, you're probably the strongest human on Earth, right? Other than my father's friends. She's annoyed at this, and goes to hit Gohan, but he gives her a look, saying, but that can change. We'll just keep training until you're the strongest, even if that takes the rest of our lives. The girl blushes at this, as Gohan kind of doesn't really click with what he said, taking after his father here, with her agreeing to do so at this almost proposal-like offer. And with this done, the Earth enters a time of peace, with Adele as our new champion. Vegeta and Goku know the difference in power between themselves and Beerus, and want to spend as much time as they can training. Of course, Goten, Trunks, and even Gohan's a little sad they missed out on an opportunity to fight the god. But for Gohan, he's happy to see his girlfriend manage to get the win she so desperately wanted. And with some correct training, she could be an amazing asset to the Z Fighters. And off on Beerus' planet, we see the god going through some very intense training. Here, he's going to push himself and unlock that technique he's been striving for so desperately. A year has passed since the tournament, as the Saiyans have kept up with their training, including Gohan, who, while also being a part-time scholar, has also taken up the role of training Earth's new champion, meaning he gets to spend time working as a personal trainer for Videl and spending a lot of time with his girlfriend. So Gohan keeps up training here and doesn't lose any power, in fact gets stronger. Gohan begins to show Videl more advanced things, getting her more understanding of God Ki and Ki itself. As for Goku and Vegeta, they work on understanding their God Ki better and are trying to find ways to improve their power. Goku had already created the Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken form, as he works towards mastering it, while Vegeta finds his own path hoping to find something stronger, if not the same strength as the Blue Kaioken. Eventually, Goku and Vegeta receive a visitor in the form of Whis, who arrives after a year and a few months have passed since the tournament. Of course, Goku and Vegeta want a rematch with Beerus. However, Whis explains how the god is asleep currently and won't be waking for a while. Of course, the pair are bummed, but Whis extends an offer. He explains that at the request of Lord Beerus, he would like to train the pair. Of course, this leads to both Goku and Vegeta learning Whis is Beerus' master, and learning how Beerus wants them to be trained to be motivation for him to keep up with his training, while also secretly searching for a new God of Destruction replacement. But for now, this is just a little bit of an idea. Of course, the pair agree and head off to train with Whis years ahead of their canon counterparts. And thanks to them being actually pretty far along anyway, with God Ki and whatnot, through what they've taught themselves, Whis only really has to refine what they've learned, and also helps get a better understanding of the God Ki and the God forms they are using. But it doesn't take them too long, so Whis starts training them in fairly different ways, very soon learning what the Saiyans are like. Once getting a good idea of who the Saiyans are, he realises that Goku, the one who Beerus would like to be the next God of Destruction candidate, is the one who won't accept it. It just doesn't suit him, and he also probably would suit something else a bit more. But Whis can't really start training him in this until Beerus wakes up. As for Vegeta, however, he brings it up to the Saiyan Prince, secretively, away from Goku, and explains that it would be him learning most of the techniques of a God of Destruction, things that Beerus could teach him. At first, Vegeta is apprehensive, but Whis tells Vegeta to think about it. It would suit him very well. And, of course, the Prince would agree to learn, and would at least think about it. And like that, 2 years pass. Eventually, Beerus wakes up, learning of the Saiyans being on his planet, and seeing their growth. He can't believe their progress, and is so thankful he took that year to train. With Whis sharing how Vegeta is actually willing to become a candidate for, the next God of Destruction, Beerus is interested, as he starts telling Vegeta he can start watching him train. And here, much like in the most recent manga chapters, we see both Goku and Vegeta splitting off to do their own thing. So here we see Vegeta starting to learn the idea of being a God of Destruction candidate. Things like the Kai, and also the fundamentals for Ultra Ego are slowly developed for Vegeta. As for Goku, he starts learning UI much earlier on than in canon. We saw that the Saiyan had an aptitude for it, and believed he had the potential to make the form work. So the two continue their training. Now, time begins to pass, and eventually Champa would come to Beerus' planet. The idea of a tournament would come around, and I'm going to be honest, this shit is a breeze. So let's cover it briefly. The team would be Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Videl, and Gohan. Gohan, who is still only a part-time scholar, decided to give the meeting a skip. Videl made it because she has grown incredibly strong, so it also just worked out well. Also, Videl and Gohan got married and have had Pan. So the tournament would start like normal up until the point where Piccolo fights Frost, where Piccolo would show off some of the abilities he's learnt through God Ki over the years, maybe even pulling out his own Super Saiyan God-like state, and he's easily able to overpower Frost, allowing him to breeze through most of the tournament up until hit. And once he loses the hit, Vegeta steps in. Here, right there, is a huge change. Vegeta's going into this fight completely clean, hadn't taken a hit, hasn't wasted any energy. He also has got about 10 to 12, possibly 14 years on his canon self when it comes to God Ki, and also is far ahead of his canon counterpart with God of Destruction training. What do I mean by this? Well, Vegeta has been trained by Beerus many years before he should have been. So, Vegeta is in a position where he is miles ahead of his canon counterpart, and also now is pretty much a fully initiated God of Destruction candidate, even having the earring and everything. So, when Beerus sends Vegeta into the tournament grounds, he tells his student to go all out and make it a good show, just to show the difference between the two universes. Vegeta understands what his master's saying, giving a sly nod before entering the arena and showing off Ultra Ego. This power is easily able to defeat Hit, and it's not even a warm-up match for Vegeta, as he's declared the winner, and things end pretty normally. Goku meets Zeno, and thanks to being more equipped to the realm of gods, he actually understands who Zeno is, but isn't afraid of him, befriends him much like normal. Beerus would still wish for Universe's 6th Earth to come back. Now, with that being said, we'll line up to the next arc, which is the Goku Black arc. Well, it would be, if Trunks' changes in the past hadn't taken a drastic turn. You see, he has a god form here, so when it comes to defeating the androids and Cell, it's hardly a workout, with him then going off to train with Shin years later. And to be fair, this training is slightly pointless. However, during this time he learns to master Super Saiyan God, and he also gets noticeably stronger thanks to being able to wield the Z-Sword. And when it comes to fighting Deborah and Babidi, he defeats them both with ease, meaning Shin and Kibito live. Finally, Goku Black would arrive, and here, Black has to play smarter. You see, with Trunks around and Shin and Kibito alive, it means that Beerus is still active. He knows he needs to kill Shin to destroy Beerus. So, he waits until he sees Trunks leave the Kai world one day, and that's when he attacks, rushing in, trying to kill Shin. Kibito catches on with what's going on, and takes the hit for Shin, getting killed in the process. He screams out for the younger Kai to escape while he's got the chance. Shin does so, and Kai Kai's to Earth, next to Trunks. He scaredly explains what's happened in the Kai world, and Trunks, hearing this, powers up to Super Saiyan God and tells Shin to take him back there. The Kai nods as Trunks appears in the world of Kais, seeing Black having just killed Kibito. Trunks screams out to Black and then realises who it is. He's confused but doesn't have any time to waste, rushing towards Goku Black to break out into a fight. And even though Trunks is miles ahead of his canon counterpart, so is Black. He's stolen a body from Goku, which is years ahead of where it should be. Even though he hasn't got full access to Goku's power, he's able to fight off God Trunks, but it's a very hard fight for Black. Trunks can also tell that Black is progressively getting stronger as the battle goes on. It seems like throughout this fight he's learning more and more about this body. While this fight goes on, Shin watches and realises that Black has a time ring. He shouts out, wondering why he has it, and actually realises that Black's key is familiar. He's Zamasu, and the Kai's impressed that he managed to figure that out, as Zamasu reveals his whole master plan, even revealing himself, well, his other self, which is immortal. Trunks is now in a bit of danger. With Black and Zamasu there, he's able to hold them off, but the immortal is causing a lot more trouble than Trunks was expecting, even though Zamasu is so much weaker than him. Trunks continues to fight, but he's losing ground slowly, as he's running out of energy, having to waste some energy on dealing with Black, and also having to try and keep Zamasu out of the fight. This is partially working, but it's not very effective, whereas Zamasu and Black are in perfect sync. They're the same person, so they fight exactly the same. Shin feels powerless watching from the sides, but he can't get involved, because if he gets involved and dies, Beerus will be gone. And that's when it clicks. Beerus, that's who he needs. Shin shouts out for Trunks to hold off the Kais for a little bit longer. Trunks shouts out, confused at where Shin's going, but before he can ask too many questions, he's gone. A few seconds pass, and Shin soon arrives back with a very sleepy looking cat, who scratches his eyes, asking why he's been brought here, screaming at Shin for waking him up from his sleep. Shin quickly explains what's going on, and this gets the cat's attention as he looks up and sees a mortal using God Key, and what he can tell to be two Kais, one having stole a body of a mortal, but an incredibly strong mortal, whereas the other has stayed himself, but also seems to have made himself immortal using the Super Dragon Balls. Beerus isn't too sure what's going on, but Trunks has definitely caught his attention, and he wants to deal with these two evil Kais fast. He quickly Hakai's Goku Black, killing him there and then tells Shin to go grab Whis and bring him here, telling him to bring a sword. Shin's confused, but Beerus shouts at the Kai, who quickly follows along. Beerus steps up and asks Trunks how he got a godly key. Trunks gives a brief explanation of how he travelled to the past, and it was a ritual done to give him a power boost he needed quickly. Beerus is annoyed that this mortal's time travelled, but is more interested in the god form right now, so doesn't think too much of it. Eventually Shin arrives back with Whis, who is holding a sword. Beerus shouts for the angel to throw it up to him, which he does so, as Beerus seals away Zamasu in the Z-sword. Well, a Z-sword-like thing. Trunks and Shin realise that that sword's kind of like the Z-sword, and are wondering if there's someone sealed in that sword. Trunks is confused, powering down from the god state, but before he can even ask any questions, Beerus screams out, looking towards Trunks, truly lecturing him about time travel, saying how, if he knew any better, he would destroy this mortal, right here and now. Trunks audibly gulps before Beerus says, "I'll do you a deal, Earthling. If you can give me a good battle, not only will I not kill you, I'll spare that planet of yours. But if you don't, well, let's say you'll be space dust when I'm done with you. And that includes that precious Earth of yours." Trunks is nervous, but won't let Beerus threaten Earth. As he powers up to Super Saiyan God, Beerus smiles. Trunks makes the first move, slashing down towards Beerus using the Z-sword. Beerus realises what that sword is, as he tries desperately not to block or break the sword. The battle rages on for a few minutes, and this is a good battle. Trunks is probably around the same power as a Super Saiyan God Goku from the Tournament of Destroyers saga, from canon, not this timeline. Very different strengths in that case. As Trunks gives everything he has to entertain Beerus, eventually Beerus gets bored. Having had a good fight, he knocks Trunks out. Shin panics, thinking Trunks is going to be destroyed, but Beerus just says how he's impressed with the Saiyan's power, and when he wakes up, tell him to keep up the training. He'll be back in a few years for a rematch, and he expects a much better fight then. Shin nods his head nervously as Beerus and Whis head back to Beerus' planet. The universe has been in peace for a while. Now peace is a good thing for everyone but Goku, who has started to get slowly bored. Over these few months of peace, he's managed to tap into a new power, something Whis had been teaching him for ages. But he's had no one to really test it up against, other than Vegeta's Ultra Ego form, which he's enjoyed sparring against, but he needs a new challenge, something different. So, after a while of growing bored, he remembers the promise the Omni King had made, so heads off to go rearrange the deal. And like that, things begin to play out like canon. In this timeline, there is no exhibition match, because there is no future Omni King. Alongside this, multiple universes are at stake. It's a much more friendly tournament for just getting a wish on the Super Dragon Balls. So the recruitment's actually a lot easier in this timeline, since there's not the weight of the universe at stake, and it's now just to have a bit of fun. Now, like I had already mentioned, when it comes to the recruitment of the team, it's a bit different. With it only being a wish on the Dragon Balls at stake, people are more just interested in taking part in it for a bit of fun. So a recruitment of a massively strong team isn't really needed. Of course, Goku, Vegeta, Gohan and Piccolo are all surefire bet. They love testing themselves, and this will be a great opportunity to do so. In a twist, Goten and Trunks are also recruited. The two boys will grow a lot in this experience, and also having access to God Ki will give them a massive increase in power. Gohan wants to bring Videl along, since she has also shown great prospects in her most recent training. Goku, like normal, would bring up the idea of getting Krillin and 18, and whereas Krillin is really happy to take part in, 18 takes a little bit of convincing. She eventually does agree, and says how she'll be wishing for money if she becomes the winner. Everyone's fine with this, and they need a final contendant. Master Roshi is the natural pick for people, and the team ends up being not too different from canon. And like I had already mentioned, thanks to it being a much more peaceful tournament, the group don't have to push both Tien or 17 to join. They're not required, it's just a spar at this point. And with Boo and Frieza dead and evil, they would never have recruited them anyway. With everyone recruited in a much faster time, they get a bit of time to train. The training is much more light-hearted, but people are willing to go all out and get a bit of extra time in. No one really needs a wish on the Super Dragon Balls, they just want to win. So, eventually the tournament would come around, and during it, things are pretty normal. Everyone is desperate and thirsty for that wish, so people are fighting hard to make a wish on the greatest wishing orbs ever. Now, there would be some small changes throughout the story, and people making it further than they did in canon. Some things I would like to bring up is Krillin beating Frost thanks to having godly sparring partners. The man would have small trace amounts of God Ki, which would be a massive increase to him. People like Piccolo would perform much better than he did in canon, maybe whipping out a Namekian transformation of his own. For now, I would like to say it would be the one he uses in the Dragon Ball superhero movie, but that's not out yet. So, I'm just going to say he uses a form equivalent to Super Saiyan God. Not in the same sort of multiplier level, but the same sort of concept. A godly Namekian, essentially. With Gohan performing amazingly, showing off his newly developed Super Saiyan Blue form. He mostly fights alongside Videl, who is doing really well for herself in this tournament, managing to help Gohan take out multiple members of the Pride Trooper, since Gohan thought they were the most interesting people to fight. But he really can't take anyone on Toppo or even Jiren's level. Dispo, however, is easily taken out at this point. As the tournament continues on, people are falling quite fast, but everyone's having a bit of fun with it. No one's desperate for this wish. Well, one person's desperate for this wish, and Goku can feel that resolve echo throughout the entire tournament. This man is desperate for it. Goku approaches Jiren. Like in canon, he can feel the desire to get the Super Dragon Balls, and he's interested. This man will fight all out to get this wish, so Goku will as well. As they exchange the same similar blows they would in canon, Goku working his way up through the Super Saiyan forms. However, the moment Goku goes Super Saiyan Blue, the fight is very different. Goku here has had years upon years to master this form. He's definitely not losing too much stamina while using it, and he can fight for a long time using this state. He also pulls out the Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, and even though he's performing a lot better than he did in canon, he's still not able to dent Jiren's armour. So, he decides to use his newest form. Goku activates his Ultra Instinct Sign form, something he had recently gotten and he's been mastering ever since. He knows he's not quite there yet, but he hopes Jiren will be the push he needs. As Goku and Jiren begin to battle it out, it is much more like Goku's battle against Jiren in his third incarnation of Ultra Instinct Sign. Goku is easily able to put up a much better fight against Jiren, and the man is forced to power up, showing off more and more of his power. Goku tries to match him, however, it's clear that he still hasn't got a full mastery over Ultra Instinct, as he's slowly tiring down. And after a few minutes of fighting, Goku drops out of Ultra Instinct, now being pretty much exhausted. Jiren is about to kick him out of the arena, which is when Vegeta steps in, saying Kakarot really needs to get a grasp of that form before he picks fights against the strongest in the arena. Goku laughs slightly, asking if Vegeta has got this. The prince laughs, saying he's fine, as Goku pulls himself up and starts walking off. Jiren's confused, but Vegeta tells him not to worry. He'll be out of the arena shortly. As he powers up to his Ultra Ego state, the thought that Jiren had of Goku being the top dog in Universe 7 is shredded away, as Vegeta's Ultra Ego form, which has long since been mastered, shows its face. Toppo is amazed, seeing this state is much like his own, and now realising how much of a threat Vegeta is. And before anyone can react, Vegeta is on top of Jiren, landing blow after blow. Jiren powers up to retaliate, landing hits in on Vegeta, but it's clear that the man gets stronger and faster with every hit that Jiren lands on him, meaning it's a battle of endurance, something Vegeta is happily able to play out. As the two begin to clash, Goku watches on from the sides, as Toppo does the same. Goku, seeing Toppo, asks if he wants to have a bit of a fight, and the man is happily able to accept it, as Goku powers up to Super Saiyan Blue, and Toppo powers up himself. The pair begin their own little battle, while still keeping an eye on their two allies fighting it out. Vegeta and Jiren keep clashing for a while, and it's soon clear that Vegeta will not win this battle, as Jiren's power increases ever more. Vegeta realises that he won't win if Jiren is given the chance to fully power up. As much as it hurts his pride a little bit, he wants to win this tournament, so he begins pushing hard against Jiren, and slowly taking him towards the edge. Jiren takes note of this but can't do much to retaliate. He still isn't at full power, and Vegeta really isn't giving him a chance to do much here. And after a few seconds of fighting longer, Vegeta has him right on the edge of the arena. Vegeta apologises for such a coward's victory, but he's taking whatever he can get. Using a quick flurry of moves, he manages to push Jiren out of the arena. The man almost pulls himself back up, but Vegeta Hakai's the ledge that he's grabbing onto,
making Jiren fall to the ground below and eventually landing in the void and back into the stands. Jiren is defeated as Goku manages to finish up his battle against Toppo, having reactivated his Ultra Instinct form to do so, having knocked that man out as well. The rest of the tournament is a pretty big sweep for Universe 7, and when it's done and finished, Vegeta is crowned the MVP. Man doesn't want anything, and after some pestering from Goku, offers the wish up to Jiren. This confuses the Pride Trooper, but Goku explains how he could sense the resolve in his heart, and the pureness of it as well. So he decided to give him the wish, since, he probably needs it. They have their own Dragon Balls back where they come from, so if they need anything, they'll just use them. Jiren can't believe the kindness of these strangers, and understands this must be what trust is, as he wishes for his sensei, and all those who had died to the creature who had killed a lot of his loved ones to return. And after the wish is granted, all universes go their separate ways, and the tournament ends on a high note. Next natural step from here would be the Broly movie, but Frieza was Hokkaido. The only way this could happen is King Cold takes Frieza's place, but I don't really see that happening. So for the most part, that arc is skipped. So next is Moro, and I'll be covering this very briefly because I really don't see things changing all that much. For the most part, things near the start of the Moro arc play out like normal, with our heroes going to Namek, losing their first fight to him thanks to underestimating him. However, the second time round after they have gotten healed, they are willing to go all out. This time, they have no plan on holding back. Goku and Vegeta head towards Moro's location, and along the way, Vegeta tells Goku that his Ultra Instinct form will handle Moro much better. Goku agrees, as when they arrive at the battlefield, Goku powers up to the Master Ultra Instinct state, something he had mastered shortly after the tournament. Seeing the power difference between himself and Vegeta, he was desperate to close it, which he has managed to do. Goku, in the Mastered Ultra Instinct form, quickly deals with Moro, who cannot match this power from Goku. Once he's defeated, Goku is getting ready to send him back to jail, but Vegeta steps in, using the Hokkai to complete Beerus' job for him, ending the arc before anything bad can happen. With that said, next up would be Granola's arc, but things there would play out quite a lot like canon. These two are both in a similar position to where they were from the original timeline. The only difference is Vegeta hasn't got Force Spirit Fission, and to be honest, I don't think we're missing out on much without him having it. He has literally not used it since. So for the most part, I'm going to say either the Granola arc goes exactly the same, or it doesn't happen at all because 7-3 isn't loose. Take your pick. And with that said, I hope everyone enjoyed this. I'm sorry it's shorter than normal, but some people might like this. And I'm sorry it seems like I rambled on a little bit. I bulked it out a little bit here and there just for everyone's enjoyment. That all being said, I do hope everyone enjoyed. Sorry for this part being shorter. I hope you all have a good day or a great night. See you next time.